before I was suppressed in several activities, including a study trip in Japan. And at the time, I felt that there was so much more that I could learn, and also there are so much opportunities that I could join in by joining in ALSA. So I personally appreciated how the board committee recognize the importance and really promote the roles of the individual member. So having the member together and then share their valuable inputs into the implementation of each activity throughout the year, I found that was really a great teamwork. So that's why it gave me motivation to join as the national board committee. So in the following year, I joined the international board as the treasurer. So it happened after I participated in the ALSA Forum Hong Kong in 2015. I still remember well that I was lacking confidence in myself, and then I kind of had so much doubts in my own capability. But what really was the turning point for me was that when I look back, and then realized how important this community is to me, and not just only for me but also the team, like my ALSA members, for everybody who was still there. So I found that maybe it was a really a good opportunity. Then I decided to take this initiative, and I was hoping that this could be something that really helped to motivate and encourage more members from ALSA Laos to further get involved in further joining, participating, and having more roles in ALSA in general. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your answer. Maybe we could go to Mr. Prin.
Sure, Pia. So the reason why I joined ALSA as an officer was, well, relatively more personal than Day's response. So my first event when I was in the first year of my law school was the ALSA conference, Malaysia. And I think it was back in the year 2015. Yeah, that was like 7 or 8 years ago. So back in the day when, during the conference in Malaysia, it was the first time I had seen so many people from Asia all gathered around in one place. I was so excited. I was like, oh wow, this is amazing. Well, what is this organization? I wanted to learn more about this. And then in the opening ceremony, I saw this guy, speaking in front of everyone. I think he was the president of the international board back then. It was so cool. Back then, when the first year student seeing a president of international board speaking to people, saying hi, so cool. So, I internally aspired. Back then, I resolved to myself, I want to be that guy. I want to be there. I want to get more involved in ALSA. And because of that have galvanized me and inspired me to run for vice president of academic activities in my second year without an experience in national board, which is quite, a bit of a stretch, if I may. So yeah, that's my initial motivation why I decided to join ALSA.
Interesting answer. Thank you, Mr. Prin. Maybe we could go to Mr. Tep.
So my first ALSA event was with Prin as well, ALSA Conference Malaysia 2016, and I must say that we had a lot of fun at the event. ALSA, came across as an organization where not only do you have fun because you meet a lot of friends and all the activities that you're engaged in, but you get to learn quite a bit as well. So I guess it's the best of both worlds, and why people join university as well, which is they want to have fun and they want to learn as well. So considering I really enjoyed ALSA, I want it to be a meaningful part of ALSA as well. And so due to that, I also saw a lot of potential in ALSA Thailand, and I really wanted ALSA Thailand to be a force to be reckoned with and becoming a strong entity as well. So which is why I joined ALSA Thammasat first, which is my local chapter, but the ultimate goal was always to be a part of the NB, which I did. And I must say that it was a really good experience, and did enjoy a lot of my time in NB and till this day. So I'm always in touch with the future national board chapter, national board generations as well.
Thank you very much for your lovely answers. So ALSA has a great potential for one to get to know a lot of people and especially gain important team in the ALSA community. And also it has great events and to give you a character development. So thank you very much for your answer. Maybe next, Yanisa.
All right. Let me ask the next question. Still relating to the previous question, I'm sure that your position at ALSA was followed with great responsibilities. I'm so keep Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to proceed to the next question. I'm so curious on how you weigh the benefit you personally gain with the sacrifice that you had to make when you were taking part at ALSA. Could you please elaborate on this? Maybe we can begin with Ms. Temala.
Sorry, I was muted. So thank you for the question. And regarding these benefits that I've gained by participating in ALSA, I honestly can say that there are a lot of frustration, to be honest, and then a lot of like sleepless nights. I believe that every one of you is also experiencing, or Print and then have you also experienced before. Like there are a lot of disagreements going on because we work with different people from different backgrounds. And then also for me, like I still remember that I once also realized that I didn't really have time or spend time with my family because there were a lot of meetings that we had to do, and then a lot of things that we had to organize among our team. So, but I never regret because what ALSA has given, it's really countless. It is like all the skills that I have developed, personally developed, which include the communications, teamwork, decision making, and so on. So, and most importantly, what ALSA has given is that the long lasting friendship and network that I still have, and then the people that I still keep in touch and work with them. So I really, I cannot really like weigh the benefits and drawbacks, but I would say that what ALSA has given me, it's like what has shaped me to be who I am today. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for very insightful answer. So maybe we can proceed with Mr. Pren.
Sure. So I think so. The question is to weigh the benefit that I gained from ALSA against the sacrifice that I've made. I think this is a very subjective question, and you really cannot, characterize or define the sacrifices that you made or the benefits that you've gained from ALSA. But as a whole, I think joining ALSA is very, very beneficial. What's so amazing about ALSA is that the more you put into it, the more effort you spend in ALSA, in developing your networks internally, in joining ALSA events, it's just going to reward you as much, or even more so in an exponential manner. So I really highly encourage the delegates who are joining the ALSA forum and the listeners who are listening from the live broadcast to really join ALSA in either local events or international events. You will gain something out of it, particularly as Day has mentioned. You're going to expand your network, which is going to grow alongside with you, which I'll surely touch upon in later of my responses. The sacrifices that I've made, in joining ALSA, you have to devote a lot of time in traveling, in going to join events, and because of that, I was not able to attend a lot of classes, so my friends in university, in college, wouldn't see me around that much. Yeah, and you have to catch up on a lot of your studies, on your tests, on your exams, especially on your midterms and your finals and your projects. I think it's about juggling your obligations around to ensure that you don't lose any one of them, and just to make sure that everything in your life is well maintained. As Day has mentioned, family is important. You want to make sure that you get along well with them, you spend time with them as much as you want. So yeah, I think you cannot really weigh the benefit between us, as Dave mentioned, and I totally resonate with that. You cannot really weigh the benefit that you've gained from the sacrifices. You just have to make sure that the sacrifices that you made are well balanced such that the benefits that you've gained will surely outperform the sacrifices that you've made.
Thank you so much for a very insightful answer. And yes, lastly, we want to hear from Mr. Tip as well.
So I agree with both my co-panelists and what they have said before me as well. And if I were to mention all the benefits which I've gained, I think the session would need to be a lot longer. But I'll just touch upon a few points, which is first of all, there's a lot of benefits. Just to name a few is soft skills as well. Because you get to talk to a lot of people from different backgrounds, your soft skills improve as well. And at the end of the day, irrespective of if you continue in the legal field or go to any other field as well, irrespective of which field you're on, communication is really important, because without communication, it's hard to do any business, even if you're a lawyer as well. So that's the first thing. Second thing is time management as well. Just because we dedicate so much of time to ALSA, which is something which one might lose out on, you also learn about how to prioritize your task and how to have good time management skills as well. Now, what one loses out, I wouldn't really call lose out or con of ALSA, but once you are an ALSA officer, it's up to you on how much time you want to dedicate to ALSA. No, because you will hardly be in a position that someone forces you, unless it's other members from your board to do a better job. But once you are elected, I think it's up to ourselves to ensure that we do the position and do the board justice as well. So that is why I think if you are elected, and this is to anyone who's considering running as an LC, LB, or IB member as well, please ensure that you perform to your full potential. And due to which, you do need to invest a lot of time in it as well. And when you do invest in a lot of time, of course, your studies, you need to plan around it, that how you still catch up on studies as well. Maintain your life outside of ALSA as well, other friends and family. But everything is still intact, so everything went well.
Thank you so much. Remarkable answer. So basically, joining ALSA as an officer followed by very large responsibility, I would say, but to gain the benefit, is it worth to sacrifice a little bit and then try to manage responsibility in ALSA with other responsibility you have as a law student, right? So yes, thank you very much. Pia, you may proceed to the next question.
Thank you, Anissa. Okay, I would like to touch upon something more personal from the speakers. What significant memory of ALSA do you still recall until this day because it has special meaning for you? Did that specific event still influence your personality or your future plans in any way? Maybe you can start from Mr. Prin this time.
Thanks, Priya. Personal indeed. Yeah, I have to respond. I prepared two responses internally, mentally. One that's a bit too personal to share, so perhaps I'll share over during session some other time. The other response is when I was running for the vice president of academic activities in ALSA Forum, Thailand, back in the days. I believe it was 2016. Yeah, so I ran as the vice president of AA, in short, VP of AA, without any background in ALSA. I was involved in a publication, in ALSA publication, but that was a very relatively minimal involvement. I was not a national board before, never joined a governing council meeting. I was technically a stranger in ALSA, got no friends. I was just building my network. I was the caretaker in the event. And then everyone was so confused when they see their caretaker running as the VP of AA. So yeah, that was my memorable event memory when I was trying to run for VP of AA. But the most memorable yet of that episode of my memory was when the votes were being counted. I can recall it, like from the back of my head, that it was so suspenseful. It was like I was so nervous. And the other VP of AA candidate was a very highly competitive candidate. He was the local chapter of the head local chapter of one of the Indonesian net local chapter. It was so well prepared. His VP's presentation was so superb. I did not know how I managed to win the election. It was the way the vote was counted was, it was written on paper, and the president would be, jumbling out those and pick them up and read one by one. So his name was Justin. Shout out to Justin. So yeah, Justin, print, Justin. I was like, okay, 3-1. All right. I need to, congratulate him later. And print, became 3-3. And then at the end of the day, the suspense we keep on building until it was 7 against 5 national chapters who voted, and 7 was to me. So it was very, very significant memory in the sense that it was highly competitive, highly rewarding, because I took that leap of faith to join ALSA almost blind. And because of that, without that memory, I wouldn't have ran I wouldn't have acted as VP of AA, much less the year after. I wouldn't have also ran for president of the international board. And without the networks that I built along the way, being the VP of AA, being the president, not sure who I will be at this point of time. So surely that decision to take that leap of faith in ALSA, take that gambit back in the days, surely made me who I am today.
Thank you so much for your answer.
Thank you very much
We
for
may
your
proceed.
Thank you.
Miss- Thank you so much. We may proceed to Mr. Rashtek next.
So there's a lot of good memories which come back to mind, but 2 or 3 memories which I would really like to point out. First being my first event, which is ALSA Conference Malaysia, my first international event rather, which Bryn and I did attend together as well. And because it was the first time meeting not only so many international law students, but law students from other local chapters in Thailand as well. So a lot of friendships were formed in that trip, both with local chapters, other law students in Thailand, and law students abroad as well. So that's a trip which always remains close. And a second memory would be our road trip in ALSA Conference Laos, because it was in Wang Vieng, which is a really beautiful place. I recommend everyone to visit. If anyone needs help, I'm pretty sure Dave will provide better recommendations than me. And it was, I went kayaking, and this was ALSA conference, and it was in Jan, so the weather was quite pleasant. We went kayaking. It was, I think, around 5 kilometers. It started drizzling as well, so on top of the cool weather, it's raining now, and so it was overall a good trip. There was a lot of clouds and mountains in the background, and a few friends of mine, they flipped their kayak and they fell down in the cold river. So it was, luckily, I was just, watching them instead of swimming in the water as well. So ALSA Conference Laos was really good. And third and the last memory which I would like to share is the one which is my last ALSA international event, which was ALSA Forum Thailand 2019. ALSA Conference Thailand 2019. I was the president of the organized committee, and so both Prin and I were part of the OC, and it was a last ALSA event for many of us, last international event. So we wanted to make sure that it's a memorable one. So back in the day when conferences and forums were still in person, it was quite a lot of fun, and we managed to get 270 participants for that event, which I think is definitely one of the biggest ALSA international events to date. And all this was done because of relationships which were built prior to that event through other international events. So we were able to gather a lot of people, personally invite people, and I think many people who attended that event, it remains a really memorable one for them too.
Thank you very much for your answer. Last, Ms. Day, would you like to answer the question?
Thank you, Prin and Tiff. That was really something, the stories that I don't know if we'll be able to get the opportunity to hear from your end anywhere, but thanks for sharing that. So from my end, it's this story that happened on the very last period of journey in ALSA. I still remember when it happened. So that was this just ordinary day that I was sitting at the faculty, and then we were watching this live stream on Facebook, and ALSA Lao was running, bidding for the host of AC 2018. So I was so like really excited, but at the same time, I was really worried. And we were selected to be the host of AC. It was the mixed feelings for me because it was completely like totally new experience for us because we had never really had any experience in hosting big events like this. Although we once hosted the study trip before, but it happened. So I decided to join as the vice executive director of a ALSA conference 2018. And we had about like 50 people in our team organizing and preparing for this event. This event like went really successfully, to be honest, and we had about 150 participants. And we coming from these participants were coming from several, like I think about 13 national chapters. So it really touched me personally because like I felt that it was just like we are a big family in our team, and then we just want this to be like a great event and memory for us. We focused, we put a lot of emphasis on like how we can make sure that participant by joining this event, participant can like earn a lot of things, and also they will feel that it's worth coming and worth joining AC at this time. So we put all our hearts and souls into that. So this is something that I will always remember. It was really an amazing experience for me. And even after the conference ended, I still keep in touch and still continuing working with a lot of people who were part of the organizing committee. So we were helping each other organizing like volunteering activities after we graduated. And we're also planning to expand our collaborations in the coming years as well. So I would highly encourage if you're thinking about what you want to do and how you want to participate, outside is the right place for you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your lovely memories, for sharing your lovely memories. So there are a lot of memories that you could still recall and grow from it, especially on ALSA international and national events. All I could view is that all of those memories were great and warm memories with ALSA community. All right, I'm gonna give the floor next to Yanisa.
So together, our speakers possess a variety of work experience, whether it's in the legal or non-legal field. What did you learn from ALSA, which supports and sustains you in excellencing in your postgraduate activities? It may be working system of ALSA or how ALSA accommodates networking. So I think we can begin with Mr. Prin this time.
I was the first last time as well. Yeah, so that's an excellent question. Currently I work as an associate in a law firm, right? And as a law firm business, you work a lot with your clients, and your almost one of your key expectations, and growing up in being in a law firm and progressing in that career is to be able to find clients. And when you find clients, you go around, you can't find them along the way. You just have to build up your networks. And ALSA is that network for you, at least for me. When there's already a ready built network that you can really, really utilize from ever so easily by just tapping into it, joining local events, international events, make friends. The common theme of the speakers today that I totally resonate with is ALSA is going to give you network, going to give you interpersonal skills, going to give you soft skills. Among that, which I personally rank with priority, is the network. Because once you make those networks, in other words, friends, they grow alongside with you. So, when same year as me, we graduated from the same year. Now he's a legal counsel in a highly reputable alcoholic beverage company. And it's been his 3 or 4 years in his career. He has sufficient say in his company. If he's looking for a dispute resolution lawyer, who else would he go to? A hypothetical question, of course, not in any way soliciting a client. So, he would reach out to his network,
This is how he finds clients. Yeah.
he would reach out to his network, reach out to his friends. And in fact, a fun fact, my first client was from a friend in Myanmar. When he just reached out to me out of nowhere that his client really needed some litigation assistance in Thailand or some advices. So that became a story still being told in the law firm today that a junior associate, one or 2 years starting working, able to find a client for the law firm. So you see your network starting to mature, starting to being able to come to fruition. And the amount of time, the amount of network, the amount of effort that you spend in ALSA will determine how prolific that network will be, or how wide or how vast that network will be in the future. And the more it expands, the more it matures, the more you're going to find it rewarding, I can assure you. So, yeah, in that very sense, I very, very wanted you to utilize, to capitalize everything you have in ALSA, make friends, make memories along the way, enjoy, don't forget to enjoy the process, and watch your network mature.
Thank you so much for your answer. We proceed to Mr. Tep then.
I think nothing much to add on top of Bryn's answer is interpersonal skills, soft skills, networking. I would say that's really important, and just a personal experience in my job as in-house legal counsel. You need to talk with people from every single department. People from different departments have different backgrounds as well. So at many times you need to play the person, not really play the situation. So I need to know how to respond to different people, giving into consideration their different backgrounds as well. That's the first thing. Secondly is when I was in ALSA NB, I dealt with many companies, not only companies, but also government organizations as well, as part of the job description, which comes with being ALSA Thailand president. And now in my role, in addition to legal, I'm also seeing public affairs as well, which basically means anything which needs to do with dealing with government, I do need to be at the forefront. So the experience which came with being the president of ALSA Thailand NB and dealing with different organizations, including both governments and NGOs, is definitely helping me now in my work as well.
Thank you so much for a very insightful answer. Maybe we can proceed to Ms. Day then. Thank you.
Thanks, Bryn and Teb. Really, I think both of you have already touched up on the very key points that we have gained, or the experience and the benefits that we gain from ALSA. Just a few things that I would like to add here. It's that also related to how working in or joining the activities in ALSA really helped me to adjust quickly into the working environment, especially when there are a lot of people from different backgrounds or people from different nationalities. So I can just so that really helped me to work alongside with them and understand them from different points of view and perspectives. Also, in each I would say in almost every big events like conference and forum, there would be usually we include this we call charity events or donation, some kind of that. So in that particular activity, that also helped me to really apply into the work in what I'm doing now, as in I also do field trips traveling to the local community and to work alongside with them in order to promote and increase their vaccination coverage across the country. So it's really something that about those skills of how you can engage or how you will reach out to the community that you're helping. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So two main benefits that we can conclude from this all answer is that firstly, ALSA do help in enhancing your soft skill, communication skill, or how to deal with the people in general. And secondly, it's really helped you to expand your network, get to know more people, whether it's in your own country or internationally. So this is very interesting, and yes, please do not miss this.
Thank you very much, Yanisa. And we're going to the last question. And maybe I should quote, a lesson learned should be a lesson shared. So do you have any lessons learned or advice that we'd like to share to our delegates here so they could prepare and plan their future steps in both contributing at ALSA and also general university life? Maybe you can start with Mr. Tep this time.
Just one thing which I would like to share is, at the end of the day, if we see our life, studies are important. Definitely, there's no doubting that. But studies are not everything as well. And I'm not trying to say that do not go to school and do not focus on your exams. Definitely, that is important. But be an all-rounder. I think that's the most important thing in life. You need to be able to know that once you step out into the real world, there's many other things apart from memorizing sections as well. And you can start that process of becoming an all-rounder from your university days as well by joining. If you join ALSA, that'll be great. If you join other organizations, which I'm pretty sure every university has, do that as well. Or do extracurricular activities. Build your profile, as well as your grades as well. Because if you do become an all-rounder, I'm pretty sure you'll be a much better asset for your company.
Thank you very much for your answer. Maybe next, Miss Day, would you like to answer the question? I'm sorry, Miss Day, I think you're still muted.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I just want to take this moment and ask every one of you here, has any of you ever felt that maybe you're not really being confident in your own capability in doing something like bigger, or like another way it's that, or if you have ever had this feeling when you feel that you are unsure if this place or ALSA is the right place for you. So if you have ever felt that way, it's totally okay to have that feeling. So if you are planning, if you're planning to run for any position in the board committee, whether the national board or international board, I totally encourage you to go for it. And then just believe in yourself, because you are not alone. You will have the very great team there to give you support anytime that you need. And even though you don't have any plan, but you just want to join ALSA as a member, I also want you to be there and continue to take part in ALSA, because ALSA is really a place where you can grow personally and professionally, like we have mentioned earlier. Although your time in ALSA may end there, but your memories, your experience, and friendship will not. So these experiences will be valuable access for you, not only during your postgraduate activities, but also your future careers as well.
Thank you very much for your answer. Lastly, Mr. Prin, the floor is yours.
Sure, just gonna keep it short and sweet. So one of the regrets that I've had along the way is, I was pushing so hard. I was the VP of AA. First year was the mood court. Third year was the president. Fourth year was already looking for a job. One of the regrets I've had along the way is I forgot to enjoy the moment that I was, in. So, by all means, go out of your comfort zone, like Dave said. Be an all-rounder, like Tep said. Join ALSA, join all the events that you can. But don't forget, along the way, university life, college life has something more to offer than just extracurriculars or just academics. So, yeah, in the process, don't forget to enjoy.
Thank you very much for your lovely advices. I hope it could boost our delegates' motivation and also strength in contributing to ALSA. Okay, this marks the end of our talk show session. Thank you very much for our speaker for our fruitful wonderful discussion that we made. We now enter the question and answer session. I see we have several, maybe more like a lot of questions for our delegates here. They're very enthusiastic. Thank you very much. Let me start with the first question, which is from Indonesia, Dava from 5A. A question to all speakers. When you are at ALSA, especially when holding structural positions, how do you build personal branding in ALSA, seeing that ALSA itself is a large organization? Maybe Yanisa?
Yes, thank you so much, Pia, for the question. Maybe we can begin with Mr. Teb.
I would say that, when we were in ALSA, we had it a lot easier because events were in person and not online. I do acknowledge that there are many challenges with, being out there or basically even networking when it's an online event as well. So I'll just share like my own personal experiences. Whenever we had international events, I always, instead of just hanging out, with our group of friends, which we went with, we always used to hang out with people from other national chapters as well. So not only do you make friends with your people in your own national chapter, but others in other national chapters as well. And like Day mentioned, and I think like Bryn has mentioned as well, that those friendships, they're still we're still friends up until today. And I'm pretty sure if any of us go to any of the ALSA NC countries, we'll have some friend over there who we know through ALSA as well. So, and I really hope that ALSA does come and, the next international event is an in-person event if the situation permits. And if there is such an event, I would highly recommend everyone to go and meet as many people as possible, because yes, it's great that we're having online events, but I don't think anything will ever replace the ALSA in-person events.
Just gonna add a bit. Personal branding in a local, fixed structure, right, must be difficult. But all it takes is just go around, build your network, say hi. That's all it takes. So, you might be fixed or finding yourself stuck in a local, direct structure that you can't really say, go beyond yourself or your position. But all it takes is just when it's out in a social setting, just say hi to people, and that doesn't hurt. And that's how you build your personal branding, how you foster your network at such a position.
Thank you so much for your answer. Maybe we can hear about this from Ms. Day as well.
Yeah. Thank you. So I totally agree with Prin and Teb as well. So it's just like starting. I think it's about starting from you yourself, and then how you can really engage with many people as possible. So it's just like a simple conversation, or even like trying to make friends or building like friendship along, because you wouldn't know, like in the future or upcoming years, or even after you finish your study, you'll be also maybe bumping into them or working with them. Like for example, just this one example that I would like to share is that after I graduated, I worked with this nonprofit organization, and we organized this called ASEAN Quiz. So we collaborated with ALSA, ALSA Laos, and then we organized the event at our university. So it's just something that we built it today, but then it will also be the long-lasting impact that can benefit us in the future as well. So it can be something that you can start by yourself.
Thank you so much for your answer, Pia. Can we hear the next question from now on?
The next question is, I'm gonna do the two questions because it has similar questions. Do you ever feel demotivated or burnt out in ALSA? And because there must be ups and downs, are there moments do you regret that you wish to do better?
Thank you so much. Yes,
I'll take it.
Thank you.
Sure. A lot of times you cannot count. When you have those moments, right, when you're down, when you're not motivated, take a break. But the most important thing is don't give up. Like it's a journey. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And being in ALSA, a year or two, you can't just sprint all the way for those 2 years work, you're off to to doing your best. But if you're down, just take a rest, take a break, give yourself a breather, and you're gonna be fine. Confide, go to people, ask your friends for help. All those kind of things help. But for sure, don't give up.
Thank you so much. That was very interesting answer because yes, of course, we all experience the burnt out period, right? Yes. Here,
Thank you.
the next question, please.
It is from Lily from Indonesia. I would like to ask, what is the most influential thing that can be obtained from ALSA, which is very useful in the field of work that you currently being undertaken by all of the three panelists?
Yes, thank you so much, Fia. Maybe we can start with Miss Day this time, please.
Yes, in terms of something that I've heard from ALSA that are beneficial to my work or the current position that I'm doing, just like we repeatedly mentioning, it's like about soft skills that I have learned and developed from time to time, and that really helped me because my current position, I'm currently like responsible for the budgeting and funding, the donor funding. So these are the skills that I have developed and I have learned so much from people who I worked with before when I was in ALSA. So I found it really practical and really helpful to apply these skills when I really work, and also the negotiations and partnerships that I have to really get in touch with, especially working with the ministry, the private sector, and also the public sector, different public sectors, which I found these are the soft skills, the communications, the team building, the teamwork that I have developed when I was in South ALSA, and it's still very useful and practical for me.
Thank you so much for your remarkable answer. Is there any question left here?
So we still have a bunch. I think we still have time. Next is from Kayla. I want to ask regarding friendship. This is an interesting question. How do you maintain professional friendship when you have friends all over Asia properly and wisely?
Any of you want to take this?
Sure. I think once again it's about time management. The friends which, let's say our school friends or college friends, usually, we're in the same country, so we meet them in person. We text them, we call them up. People are friends from ALSA. When we visit a certain country or when they visit Thailand, then we definitely make time to meet them. But even if we don't meet each other physically, you can always chat to some people, and Facebook, Instagram, we're always connected. Occasional message, replying stories. So I think everything can be done.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to differentiate between keeping alive your network versus keeping alive your friendship locally. It's all the same, because at the end of the day, your network is your friends. So yeah, reply to your DM. Do as how you would in maintaining a normal relationship. I think that would be my best response to this. Good question, though.
Thank you so much. Next question, please.
I think Miss Day, would you like to add?
Just to add quickly. So I think when we talk about networking or friendship, for me, I would see it as something like in two ways. So it's not really we expect to have a bunch of friends and then try to know a lot of people so that we can get something. But it's like we are also giving them, and then there will be one day they will also help us in some ways as well. So just think it as both way in returns.
Thank you very much.
To the moderators, we'll just try to keep our answers as concise as possible whenever possible so that we can cover the most amount of questions we can.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We still have 9 minutes left. We have a question here from Dika. When did when did you decide to join ALSA, and do you have an end goal for yourself? Maybe we can highlight on the end goal for yourself and for ALSA.
Any of you who want
So,
to?
me personally, I decided to join ALSA, in my first year of university. When I found out what ALSA is, I found it really interesting, and so I decided to join. For end goal is, I always want to work in a multinational corporation and, climb my way up the corporate ladder. So I'm actually living my goal, and hopefully I end up in places where I do want to end up.
I'm gonna apply a different reading to that. So when I first joined ALSA as the VP of AA in my second year and my third year as president, my end goal for ALSA back during the end of my term as the president was to make sure that that the local chapters, the existing national chapters, remain very, very active, and that the newly formed national chapters are also starting to gain their momentum alongside with the existing national chapters as well. I think that was how I view ALSA. So no need to expand at such an expanse or such a rate that you cannot really internalize or control what's going on inside, but make sure that you still develop, but to the extent that you can maintain the internal structure. So that's my personal motto and how I view ALSA as an organization back in the days.
Thank you so much for your answer. Maybe we can proceed to the next question, please, Pia.
Yes. Maybe to the next question, or maybe Miss Day, do you like to add something? Or okay.
I think we can proceed. I'm not sure if we still have much time left.
Yeah, we still have maybe 5 minutes left. Next question, I think this could regard from Mr. Prince's answer before. How do you manage your members to stay in the organization and contribute to the organization? Maybe you can more like the events and practical stuff.
I think it's about making sure that the group of people that you're close with, particularly friends from different national chapters, maintain that amount of interest. Because in the past, right, I have to recognize and I have to admit that it's probably difficult to join international events when there's little in-person interaction, and all you can do, or all you can see is other person's face on screen, and that just takes away the interpersonal, the interconnectedness of ALSA, which is the majority of the fun in taking, not to mention those academic activities. So now that the borders are reopening and the lockdown measures have been easing up, I think the in-person event can be held like sooner rather than later, and because of that, it would naturally gain interest those members. So the friends that you've made along the way, make sure that you treat ALSA as sort of like a place or a venue that you can reconnect, that you can end up, going on drinks, going on dinner, going on lunch together. Because being in a college trip, or being in a college life, you don't really have that much freedom that you can go anywhere you want at any time. But if you say, ALSA International Conference, ALSA International Forum, it's, we get to do academic activities, we get to debate, we got to do moot court, and, meet up some friends along the way. Your parents gonna be like, oh, all right, go ahead. Or your professors, your club organizers are gonna be like, oh, sounds good, let's go ahead. So I want the outlook of ALSA has to be from a personal perspective to be a venue that you can reconnect with your friends. If that's the case, I'm pretty sure that ALSA will pick up the interest of joining international events or local events in no time.
Thank you so much for your interesting answer. Maybe Ms. Day want to add something to this as well?
Yes, I think Print already hit the points, and what I would like to add here is that how we can really get the people or members connected or engaged in the ALSA activities. I think one of the approaches that we can also try is to really listen to what our members are saying, or because we are the same organization, even though we have the board committee who who are really looking after like things in general, but we are working with the members. The members are the most important elements for the resource that we have. So if without the member, we cannot really like maintain this organization or really further move on. So I think the most important thing is to listen to what they really expect to see or what really interests them. So that really, I think, can be something that we can pull them back and also get them more engaged in the ALSA activities.
Thank you very much for your answer. This could be like the last question because of the time constraints. This is about contributing back to the community from Angga. So ALSA, it is very interesting that ALSA accommodates young people in both nationally and internationally, but it is also interesting that how ALSA contributes to grassroots communities, which is contributing back to the society. Do you already have any experience in this in ALSA? Do you have any programs that touch upon them?
Okay. So with regards to giving back to the community, when we did have events in person, every AC and AF, there was always a session which was, we used to visit some places or perhaps give a donation, whether it's the environment, the orphanages, or other places as well. So that's one place how ALSA gives back to the community. Definitely there are many other ways as well. For example, like now when we have graduated, many of us, we do spend time with current ALSA members as well, share experiences on what are the best ways to get a job. That's one. Secondly, many people who have graduated from ALSA, and I've seen this personally as well, they open internship opportunities or job opportunities for ALSA members as well. So I wouldn't really say it's giving back to the society, but it definitely opens up many doors.
We have ALSA Alumni Network.
Yep.
So once you graduate from ALSA, graduate from your college, from your law school, I highly encourage you to join the Alumni Network, which is open for anyone, any national chapter. And that's, okay, we call it a network, but it's a Telegram group that you can, that's like, over 100,000 of members now, I believe, or growing at the very least. So, join that. And whenever there's anything that you needed help, or whenever anyone needed help, when it comes to legal questions, legal advices, they're going to ask in this Telegram group, and there's almost a conversation on a daily basis in that group. And because of that, the groups are, remaining active, and we're trying to, what the Alumni Association of ALSA is trying to do is that, we're congregating the members right now. So we are trying to make it more structured in a way. So by the time you graduate, I'm pretty sure the structure of Alumni Association would probably crystallize, and by then you can definitely join, and we'll probably has a lot more activities that we can do. Yeah, so Alumni ALSA Association, make sure you join them.
Thank you so much for your answer. Maybe Ms. Day can briefly add something to this question as well. Thank you.
Yes. So we're just, if we're talking about like how we can really contribute to the local community, I can say that, like, just like how Ted mentioned that in the big events of ALSA, we have the maybe half day or one day that we have this session where we like give some donation or have some like activities with an NGO or a specific place like schools. So what we've been doing, it's also, I think, something that meaningful, that's something that we can be part of outside, apart from the academic or non-academic activities that we're doing. It's to like have this like activity that we have, like, for example, in capacity building. So we go to a specific school in the province, and then we promote the leadership skills and other team building skills for the secondary school students. So it is not that the one-off program, because like from there are also a few places where we continuing like try to maintain like at least once a year that we do the activity with them. So I think this can be like a small initiative, but I would say that it is something that really impactful for the community or the target audience that we are working with.
Thank you very much for the answers. As the last question has been answered from our speakers, sadly, we have to end our alumni sharing. It has been a wonderful discussion. Please let me a little summarize our event today by our speakers sharing their experiences. ALSA is a place with various opportunities such as networking, character development, academic training, internships. That could also mean taking a part in ALSA could be an alternative for members to grow more from themselves and their community.
Thank you, Pia, for the wonderful concluding remarks. We have reached the end of our event, but before we end, we would like to give an appreciation to our amazing speakers. We will give you a hard copy of the speaker certificate and ALSA Forum souvenir presented by the committee of ALSA Thailand.
Maybe the committee could you help us in screenshotting and pinning for Miss Day first? Or we could do a symbolic for Miss Day. Miss Day, could you please maybe take the screenshot from the committee?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Miss Day. Maybe I can take the picture then. Yes, so 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Ms. Day. Maybe next to Mr. Tep and Mr. Prin at the offline venue. Yanisa, could you help me assist in giving the certificate and maybe the souvenirs for Mr. Tep and Mr. Prin?
So I would like to invite the OC to give the souvenirs for ALSA Forum to the speakers, please. Thank you so much. I would like to give the event back to the MC of the ALSA Forum. Lastly, ALSA always be one. Thank you.
All right, so now we will have 10 minutes break. Please come back at 2:25.